Cedar Point has one of the greatest collections of roller coasters in the entire country, spanning over 17 coasters, with their newest one, Wild Mouse, coming this year in 2023. In today's video, I'm going to be ranking all of them from 17 to 1, including Wild Mouse, and where I think it would rank in Cedar Point's ranking of their 17 roller coasters. So we're going to talk about that today and see which one is the king of Cedar Point. I'm going to have some hot takes in there, but I want to know your top 3 in the park. So comment down below your top 3 in Cedar Point, and I'll respond to every comment personally. So let me know what your top 3 is in the comments. But before we get started, I want to give a few special shout outs to our Patreon subscribers. With our highest tier possible, that is Jackson, our highest tier supporter. Thank you so much, Jackson, for all your support that you give us. We truly appreciate everything you do for us, as you are our executive producer, because you are our highest tier. So thank you for all your support and everything you do on your diamond tier. Thank you, man. At our platinum tier, we have Garen, Aiden, and Caleb. Thank you guys also for your support. We literally could not do this without you guys. So thank you so much for your support and just truly everything you do at your level. So that's just the extra support you give us really keeps us going and provides us with the opportunity to do these things and where we go and the content we put out. And at our gold tier, one of my best friends in the community is Joe. So Joe, thank you for your support that you give us extra also from this, just not listening, but extra monetary support. So thank you so much for your support and everything you guys all do. So Garen, Aiden, Caleb, Joe, and Jackson, thank you guys so much. If you don't know who we are, I am Austin. I run the Park Hoppers Radio with my best friend Owen. We are a podcast all about roller coasters, amusement parks, and our travels around the amusement park industry. So make sure you please check that out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, wherever you listen to your podcast at. But also, if you want to support us at any way possible, even just liking, subscribing, commenting, and sharing our content is the best way too. But if you want to support us just a little bit extra, you can check out our Patreon. That'll be in the description down below, where you get extra content and bonus episodes, off-topic ones, photography sent to you personalized by me in frames, and birthday gifts, and just so much more bonus content. So please check that out if you want to support us just a little bit extra. Coming at the last spot on the list, number 17 is Wilderness Run, one of the first coasters that I rode as a junior coaster, and enthusiasts will still try and steal a kid to ride this, or ask park for the permission. But this goes through the layout twice. It's a great ride for kids to start out, and you kind of get a little pop of airtime on that one tiny hill. There's nothing too special about this ride. It's a kids coaster, but it does rank last in the park. Coming at the 16th spot, its neighbor is Woodstock Express, rounding off Camp Snoopy's area with the next step up for inspiring coaster enthusiasts. This is the junior coaster by Vekoma. This coaster is widely at many parks. It's seen many parks, many iterations, but the worst being Barnstormer at Disney World. I have some good memories on this ride with my friends before they were ready to actually ride good real coasters at the park back in like 2013 when we were like 12, 11, 13 years old. So it has some memories on it, but it is not one of the best in the park. It's a kids coaster for a reason, and it's a good step up from the one that I talked about in Wilderness Run. Coming at the 15th spot is Cedar Creek Mine Ride. Opening up in 1969, this coaster is an aerodynamics creation over the Cedar Point Swamp. Per usual with these models, it's not the most exciting model, but being over the swamp really adds a lot to this ride that wouldn't be there without it. Full of janky and rickety transitions, this coaster routinely has like a 15-minute wait, and I could see this as the next coaster being taken out, as it is prime real estate. And with the trend of the industry right now, I could definitely see a coaster like a Big Bear Mountain coaster coming in here with the trend of family launch coasters. So I would love to see like a straddle coaster of some type here, but that is the 15th spot in Cedar Creek Mine Ride. Coming out of the 14th spot, we have one of the most iconic coasters that was ever built, with a bonus being in 1976. This is why the trains are red, white, and blue for America's bicentennial, which I did not know until now. It's the little added touches that help, but it's the first coaster that was over 3 inversions to open in the country and has been thrilling riders literally for decades. But yes, it may be uncomfortable and a little bit headbanging in their transitions, and it's very janky, but I can deal with it for 2 rides a year on this icon, not to mention how beautiful it is over the Midway. If they do ever take this out, as people have been talking about this, to take it out, I think they have to keep the corkscrews there just for the iconic look of them. So they're very beautiful to take photos of. If you want to check out our photography, also check out our Instagram account, Park Hoppers Radio. At the 13th spot, we have Iron Dragon. So I have so many memories from this ride watching the POVs from the first time with my cousin being one of the few suspended coasters left in the country. I really wanted to get a ride on it. This one also benefits from the terrain of the swamp and the forest. Aerodynamics built this in 87, and I definitely see this like staying in the park for like 7 to 10 more years. This ride travels all the way through the forest through its 2 lift hills, and you just fly through the forest. So it's a great time, and one of the few coasters left that actually just stays in the forest the entire time. As you get to the second lift hill, you make your way over the water with the mist as you finish with the helix. At the number 12 spot, this might be a hot take for many people, but this is Gemini. This might be one of the most boring roller coasters I've ever been on. This hybrid racing coaster from Aerodynamics rarely duels from what I've seen in 2022. This coaster might be counting its days because it's a prime real estate spot of land, but if I had to ride it, I would take Blue Side for the win. If you want a superior racing coaster in Ohio, just go down 4 hours south of Kings Island or travel over to Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania and take a ride on Racer, which might be one of the best roller coasters racing that I've been on. I'm sorry if you like Gemini, I just think this coaster personally is boring. It's just the same repetitive motions as you get lower and lower to the ground the entire time. So it is not a fun racing coaster at all by any means unless you actually get a real duel, but that is Gemini. At the 11th spot, we have Wild Mouse, the newest roller coaster coming to Cedar Point in 2023. Now, I have not rode this coaster, but this is where I think it'll personally land in the rankings among Cedar Point's 17 roller coasters. This new model by Zamperla, the freeform twister model, has an opportunity to be leagues better than the first generation Wild Mouse models. So they could definitely sell this to a lot of parks, Cedar Fair, Six Flags, and so on in the industry. It may not be the most exciting model, but as you have the smooth turns and transitions, Zamperla has a lot in store, I hope, for this ride and future models to come. The turns look smooth and the transitions look very smooth. So I have very high hopes for this ride to be a good model that can be placed in other parks. It may not be the best coaster in a park, but it's a good addition for families and thrill seekers alike. Hence, like Cobra's Curse at Busch Gardens Tampa, I really enjoyed that when I went this year. It was one of my underrated hits of the year. Not to mention, you'll be on the lake with a boardwalk area that was just transitioned and redesigned for the 2023 season with the new pavilion. So I'm very excited for this ride, but I'm more important and most excited for the rooftop bar coming to the pavilion to take some good views of the sunset and get a few drinks with the boys. At the number 10 spot, it may be surprising for some people that know my content, is Rougarou. So I've been infamously talking about my hatred for this ride, but looking objectively at the ride, it's not as terrible as I thought. It's rough and janky, and it definitely has that B&M rattle, but I would rather ride this coaster than the coasters that I've mentioned above this. But the twin of this that is mirrored at Six Flags Great Adventure, Green Lantern, that is still a stand-up, is the worst coaster I've ever rode. This was transformed in 2014 into Rougarou from the stand-up model that was Mantis, but it did get a little bit better, but not the most. But being themed to the werewolf, it used to have a sound effects, and at the bottom of the hill had mist, but Cedar Point, that's just too much work for them now, and they don't even have the effects. So definitely is down in my books for that. But I can deal with the jankiness, the B&M rattle for a 0-minute wait every day. So I can deal with it for a little bit because this ride, like I said, never has a wait. But I don't mind it as much as I used to, so I give it a little bit more credit than I did on my re-rides that I got last year. At the number 9 spot, maybe surprising for a few and maybe not be surprising for some people that do like this ride, is Blue Streak. Being the oldest ride in the park, I think this coaster has held up amazingly over its almost 60 years in operation. Yes, it's rough, it's wood, and it makes sense. It's a PTC created by Frank Hoover and John Allen, but this coaster is here to stay, and it's not going anywhere as much as people want to take this down. This coaster has good little pops of airtime, and I know it may not be the best wood coaster in the world, but it definitely fits in for what Cedar Point needs, as it is the only wood coaster they have left. The ride has heart to it, and my favorite part about this ride is the running lights on it at night as you're exiting from the back of the park to the front when you have the running lights among the whole layout of the ride. So it's very cool to see those at night. Also, I could see this ride definitely getting a little bit of Titan track in a few sections or be entirely Titan track in the next few years. I don't know. It could happen. But being a legacy ride, I think Cedar Point will put in the work in taking care of this roller coaster, unlike Six Flags with El Toro. But when you're back at the park the next time, if you don't like this, this is my underrated pick for the park. So give this classic PTC one more chance, please. Getting into my top 8, these coasters can be mix and match for anybody that is watching this video because there's a lot of different topics and opinions on these top 8 coasters. But I have Valravn at the number 8 spot, the 2016 B&M Dive Coaster. This coaster towers over the Midway and it is beautiful. It may be the most photographed ride I have in my catalog for photos. I'm not saying this is bad for being in the A spot, but this park has so much to offer above this, but is smooth and has breathtaking views from the top as you dive down and hold there and just look 200 feet down at the vertical drop. Definitely a favorite among the non-enthusiasts that come to this park, but I think this coaster is good, it is smooth, and it even spells out Ohio, so no other ride in the world spells out its state name. Because only in Ohio. It broke many records when it came out, and Valravn still stands as one of the best dive coasters in the entire country. At the number 7 spot, sticking with the B&M creations for this one in 1994, we have considered one of the best inverts in the country, not by me, but by many people, is Raptor. Raptor sits along the Midway, and it is beautiful, and you definitely hear that B&M roar as it comes down the hill, and it's just one of my favorite sounds in the park. As you travel through the 6 snappy inversions, Raptor was the first coaster to also feature the Cobra roll, and I love the drop in the inverts, especially the back row. But like I said, if you want to ride the best invert in the country, just head down to Kings Island. Coming at the number 6 spot, this ride either is loved or hated, and there is no in between. This is the legendary, the man, the myth, the legend, Magnum XL-200. Being the first hypercoaster or first coaster to go over 200 feet, has many fans and many haters alike. But I used to be in the hater group, but after riding this past year and getting some of the best rides in my entire life and embracing the pain on those triangle hills, I had the best ride of my life, and I think this coaster truly is a top 25 coaster in my book. This aero creation takes you from the Gemini Midway all the way over through the water park to the back end of the park and along the coastline of Lake Erie. You can get some breathtaking views of the lake on this ride and the slow lift hill, but this coaster is truly legendary for changing the entire coaster community and industry. So give this legend another chance like I did this year if you don't like it, but if you do, embrace the pain. At the number 5 spot, we're going to head to the front of the park, but we're going to stay on the lake as this coaster truly transformed the entire front gate and Lakeside Plaza. That is Gatekeeper from B&M. This masterpiece sits and changed the front gate from the destruction of Space Spiral and Disaster Transport in 2012. Gatekeeper opened as the tallest, fastest, longest, and most inverted wing coaster in the country. It opened with the world's tallest inversion as you take your dive through the lake and then you go through the keyholes over the front gate. This ride, truly from front to end, the beginning, is perfect. It may not be the most intense ride for coaster enthusiasts, but I enjoy this ride so much as it was my second most ride in the entire year of 2022 of coasters I rode. From the Inelman, the Corkscrew, the Zero G roll, this ride truly is one of the best wing coasters in the world and one of my favorite rides to take photos of. Look at these photos that I took. But that is Gatekeeper at the 5th spot in the park. One of the most iconic rides in the entire world and probably one of the most recognized in the entire world is Thrill Dragster. Rest in peace, the original form of this ride, but I wanted to give it honor by putting in the 4th spot. Opening up in 2003 as the world's tallest and fastest roller coaster, Thrill Dragster is the only strata coaster that was at that time, and then King Dakar came and took both records for tallest and fastest. Then Formula Rosa opened. It opened up with the first strata coaster. That also means it's over 400 feet, and like I said, the tallest and fastest coaster as you launch off at 120 miles per hour and reach for the sky on a clear day. You can even see Canada. This ride might be 17 seconds long, but truly from start to finish, this ride was so much fun. The anticipation, the anxiety, the nervousness before you launched off at 120 miles per hour truly was one of the best feelings in the world. You could even sit in the stands and watch people launch off, and just hearing those launches was just one of the coolest things. And even to taking videos and watching, even if it did get that occasional rollback. I think we can all say together that we do miss Thrill Dragster, and we're excited to see what Cedar Point can reimagine in its new form. So rest in peace, Thrill Dragster at the 4th spot. As you can tell, there's many iconic rides at this park and many record breakers, but the most iconic ride I think in the entire world is Millennium Force. Coming at the number 3 spot, this is the first coaster to go over 300 feet, also classified as a Giga Coaster. This also changed the landscape of the coaster industry. As you ride along the lakeside and through the swamps of Cedar Point, you truly go from left side of the park all the way to the right side of the park, so you span the entire length of the park. Through its many overbanked turns, airtime hills, and alike, and the tunnels, this ride truly is the most iconic ride and most recognized ride ever. It's consistently voted in the top 10 roller coasters in the world, and it's many people's favorite roller coaster at the park or in the world. But Millennium Force is an icon and will remain one of the favorites among many people for years and years to come. Also, I love the station music. Sticking with the Intamin creation comes in a very smaller package. Bigger always isn't better, and in 2007, Maverick and Intamin proved that with a top height of 105 feet and a beyond vertical drop. If you want to get whipped around like a rag doll and travel through the rockwork with these snappy transitions, 3 inversions, and 2 launches, you're going to have a fun time on Maverick. From the many people I talked to, this is their favorite ride in the park, but this ride truly is a magnificent creation from Intamin. And as you finish the second half and stay in the station and then the train bells go off, you launch at 70 miles per hour over the water, and then you finish through the rockwork and some more snappy transitions. But this ride truly is one of my favorite rides. It's in my top 10, and it will probably remain there. Maverick ran so Velocicoaster could sprint. But like I said, this is widely considered one of the best steel coasters in the entire country, if not one of the best coasters in the entire world, and it shows from just its popularity with a routinely 2-hour wait. And coming at the number 1 spot, arguably one of the best roller coasters, if not the best roller coaster in the entire world, RMC made Steel Vengeance this beautiful creation. And they took the rough, old Main Streak and turned it into a masterpiece. The king of airtime, this hyper hybrid is the king of airtime with its killer outer bank turns, over bank turns, 0 G rolls, 0 G stall, and you get 30 seconds of airtime out of your seat. At almost 6,000 feet of track, this is also the longest hyper hybrid, and RMC did a killer job with something that wasn't really special, and they turned it into the best thing in the entire world. Is this the best RMC? Is this your favorite coaster in the world? Please let me know, because this personally is not my favorite coaster in the world, and it's not the best RMC. But Steel Vengeance truly is a masterpiece. It's a great ride and routinely also has an hour, 2-hour wait every single time I'm there. RMC and Cedar Point, you guys did truly an amazing job with this ride, and RMC will continue to put out just amazing masterpieces across this country, including Air Force One this year. So that is my ranking from 17 to 1, including Wild Mouse this year and Top Thrill Dragster. So rest in peace, Top Thrill. But let me know down below, is Millennium, Maverick, Steel Vengeance, what's your favorite ride in the park? And I'll personally respond to every comment that is commented on this video. Like I said, I am Austin. I run the Park Hoppers Radio. If you want to check out our podcast and support us even extra, go check it out and take a listen. But I'm Austin. I'm out.